Is this not what women have been fighting for? Equality, screaming at the top of their lungs their independence. So why do you need a man to get up and give you a seat? You should have been there on time like a man to find your own seat. Or do we get to nitpick and choose when men are supposed to respect us, or nitpick our equality? Is it not weird that she's randomly recording strangers on the subway? Because if a man were to do this, he'd be looked at as a creep or a pedo. And the reality is, taught men that there's no good answer. And what I mean by that is if this man gets up and gives you a seat at any point and looks in your direction maybe the wrong way, he's considered a creep. If he gets up and maybe his arm sweeps against your leg, he can be looking at harassment charges. If he stands there while you sit down and says, hello, how was your day? Then guess what? He could be exploited as internet content and be the next creep or the next men or trash content. And does he want to risk that? If he happens to be getting off at the same stop as you, then guess what? You could accuse him of following you. And that might be even worse for him. And because men can't distinguish the false allegation girlies versus the normal girlies that still want respect, guess what? They treat us all the same. So thank you for that. Okay, bye.
A dude in the comments said, last time I offered my seat to a lady so she could sit next to her mom, she looked at me with disdain and said, do I look disabled to you? No, but you look like an idiot now.
I caught her talking to other men, and she won't get out of my car. Now she's crying. So I caught her talking to other dudes. Oh, wow, that must be sad. God, that must be terrible. Oh, man. What were their names again? I love how you said they were just your friends and you were sending them ass pictures. Get the f*** out of my car.
This is a perfect example of why when she says that these dudes are just her friend, she is full of shit. Let me tell you what she means when she says he's just a friend. It means 1, he's the backup plan if something happens. Number 2, it means that they have already hooked up and she's keeping him again on the back burner so her body count doesn't go up if the relationship ends. The other thing that it can mean is that she basically chose you as her second choice. So if that dude becomes available, she's gonna dump your ass. And lastly, what it also means is that they haven't hooked up yet. He still wants to hook up. She's kind of interested in it because she's not really interested in you and you're basically just a placeholder. Stop letting these women tell you that these men are just friends. There is literally no such thing. And for every single person that comes in my comments saying, oh, it's insecurity, it's insecurity. No, not with Snapchat nowadays, not with all these hidden messages that you can hide on Facebook. You need to be cautious, be aware, stop being naive, and not let these women play you. And lastly, let's just remember that she's only crying because she got caught. Not only is that manipulative, but what it does is it turns the good men bad. So congratulations on making yet another good man turn bad, where women have no accountability for their actions like this. But what it also does is it ruins it for the rest of the women that are out here actually crying and getting their feelings hurt because men can't decipher the difference between being manipulated and real tears. Okay, bye.
What happened to men pursuing girls? When was the pivotal moment that a man chose to not go after a girl anymore and put in any effort? It seems like guys can just put the bare minimum and not even really put in effort anymore. They don't really care to. Or they're like, why don't girls just go and make the first move and make the effort? When did it become a thing? Now it's like role reversal where they expect girls to be making the first moves, yearning for a guy and chasing him. That is, I feel like, the downfall of why it's so hard to meet someone, because men don't put in effort.
There's plenty of pivotal moments. How about when a woman called a man weak for opening her car door? Or the time that men pursued women on dating apps and him saying, hey, how are you, wasn't good enough? How about the pivotal moment when a man is looking out into the open and happens to glance in a woman's direction and somehow he's undressing her with his eyes? Or how about the moment when women considered everything the bare minimum and nothing is ever good enough? Or what about the pivotal moment where men have to fix everything in a relationship to make it work and women have to simply exist? Or how about the time there was a study done that said 80% of women find men unattractive, so why would they try anymore? Or the pivotal moment where men can be accused of SA or grape at any given moment by accident, just because a woman is pissed off because she was rejected? Or what about the pivotal moment that women have constantly told men that they're so undesirable that they would rather pick a bear over a human being, as if men don't have feelings? Or how about the pivotal moment that every single man that ever chased a woman was considered a simp and women simply didn't respect them or want to be with them because they're chasing and they're trying too hard? What about the pivotal moment when the nice guy gets left because he's not toxic enough? Or what about the pivotal moment where men can't even simply be respectful without it being considered creepy or too friendly? Or what about the time that women decided that not even Cheesecake Factory was good enough for a first date? That they didn't want to get to know men for who they are. They wanted to know how much money they made and their status. And I don't know about you, but that doesn't sound worth chasing. Okay, bye. The final stage for any is going to always be religion. The best way to figure out if a woman is an asset or a liability, just ask for her credit score or tell her you want a prenup. Any woman that's always on her phone when she's around you but takes forever to respond cannot be trusted. Always treat women exactly how they treat you. The best way to test a woman is to offer to go 50-50 on a first date. If a woman isn't immediately nurturing or wanting to take care of you, she doesn't like you. Always check her social media because you never know who she's following, especially when there's videos out there that teach women how to fake cry. If she refuses to get rid of Snapchat, just know that she is keeping the door open for somebody else. The only reason that she doesn't want to go 50-50 with you is because she can't even afford 50% of your lifestyle. Because she's broke. A woman who uses the phrase, "I'm literally just a girl," is actually using weaponized incompetence to be financially irresponsible or irresponsibly unstable and will wreck your life. Manipulation, and it doesn't have to be screaming or yelling or even hitting you. Sometimes neglect can be anything from not having your needs met, not giving up any kind of intimacy, not taking care of herself intentionally so you find her less attractive, not listening to you, not hearing you, not understanding you, and dismissing your feelings. If her schedule changes drastically suddenly and she's staying late at work or she's suddenly picking up more shifts, she's cheating on you. If a woman is always arguing with you, just know that she picked you and she doesn't respect you, because any woman that respects you is not going to want to argue with you all the time. Surefire way to know if you're a good dad is if she uses your kids against you because she knows it's the only thing that's going to hurt your feelings. Because if you were a deadbeat, then she'd know that you wouldn't give a damn about those kids, so she wouldn't have to use the kids to manipulate you. So it's a blessing and a curse. She tries to gaslight you by telling you that she's posting provocative pictures for herself on the internet because she worked hard for her body. Just know that she's full of. She wants validation and attention from other men. And it's validation, reassurance, and attention from other men that you can't compete with, because you cannot compete with thousands of men when you're just one. So nothing you ever do is going to be good enough. And as long as you accept this type of behavior, she's going to continuously disrespect you. If you try to set boundaries, expectations, and standards and keep to your preferences with women, and suddenly she's calling you narcissistic or controlling, it's because she's not really a good woman. And lastly, any woman that doesn't make direct eye contact with you when she's having a conversation with you is probably lying about something. And if something doesn't make sense, it's probably not true. Okay, bye.
How is it that I look like this today, yet no man wants me to be his girlfriend?
Is this a serious question? Because women just went from saying they rather pick a bear over a man. So why the hell would men approach you or even look in your direction? But not only that, so many women have taught men over the years that all men are predatorial, so the good men of the world gave up. And it's so funny because women will constantly say that men don't listen, but now that men are listening, y'all are wondering where the good guys are at, why they don't approach you anymore, and why men are just simply not interested. And why the hell would they be interested? They don't know if they're going to be the next subject of all men are trash content on social media. They don't know if they're going to be accused of doing something they didn't do. They don't know if they're going to be used for dates. They don't know if they're going to be manipulated and then called a narcissist. And in this particular video, she's also asking why didn't they approach her because she looks the way that she looks. But the bottom line is most women are basic. There's nothing special to them. We all look the freaking same. So yeah, you actually have to come with more than just your looks. You actually need a personality nowadays too. Okay, bye. What's actually hilarious is the amount of women that are outraged by this soft guy era, because basically these men are flipping the roles on them and they realize how ridiculous and unrealistic it sounds when a man says it, but then when they say it, it's not ridiculous. Like, some women have even gone as far as to call these men gay and act really homophobic towards them for simply asking for what they're asking for. And what I get from it, even if it is a joke, jokes aside, it's about reciprocation, and it's showing how many women expect it automatically because their inflated egos are telling them that they deserve it no matter what, without any reciprocation. And I don't know about you guys, but any relationship that you're in deserves appreciation, reciprocation, and I think a lot of you guys need to go back to kindergarten where we learn to treat others how you want to be treated. Because if you don't want to be used, then don't use people. If you don't want to be looked at as a paycheck, don't be a gold digger. If you want respect, you have to give respect. If you want someone to be compassionate and considerate, you have to be compassionate and considerate. And yes, this absolutely goes both ways. So the fact that so many women are showing the fact that they'll never reciprocate the same energy, this explains why so many men are out here, just match my energy and I'll match yours. And the problem is, it's not happening. It's the same way that so many women will come online and bash men and talk shit about men and talk about their first dates being awful. But the moment that my platform or other women like me call out toxic behaviors, it's a problem. So y'all can talk about men and their toxic behaviors, but when women call you out on your own toxic behaviors, it's different. Anyways, drizzle, kings. Okay, bye.
I fell in love with somebody who doesn't even know my name, no. And I know.
Can we just take a moment to imagine if a man was recording a woman exactly like this? It's unprovoked, it's unnecessary, and he would be labeled a predator or a creep, or the questions would start as to how many videos he has in his phone and how young the girls are. But when women do this, it's perfectly natural or normal. Like, what was the expected outcome anyway? This person could be totally unhealthy, unhinged, but you want to find this random man. But not only that, so many women love to preach how dangerous men are, how creepy men are, how women are in fear of their lives just because they walk down the street. This man is running, and y'all are videoing him like it's warranted. If you were doing the same thing, walking down the street, and a man was recording you because maybe you're looking exactly like that and showing a lot of cleavage, is it not the same thing? It's a perfect example of how being creepy is only considered creepy if the person is unattractive. The only reason that this is socially accepted and women have been stitching looking for this guy is because he's attractive. If he was not attractive and being recorded, then it would be considered creepy. Okay, bye. So let me get this straight. So many modern day women think that they're the prize because basically they're a functioning adult and they pay their bills. Like, congratulations for paying your electric bill. I guess that means you deserve princess treatment. Meanwhile, these women are ill-mannered, don't know how to communicate, they don't know how to take constructive criticism, they only know how to focus on negative behaviors instead of positive behaviors, they have unhealed trauma that they constantly project onto other people, they're selfish and entitled and expect everyone to cater to them while they give nothing in return. They have poor time management, they don't have any priorities in place, they don't know how to focus, they don't know what they really want in life, which is why they dabble in everything and sleep around. They prefer negative attention rather than no attention at all. Their idea of positive friendships is how many followers they have, and their reputation online is more important than who they are in real life. Dismissive to anybody's feelings or opinions if it doesn't validate them. They bully people while simultaneously preaching women empowerment. But yet they have so much to bring to the table because they're a functioning adult and they pay their bills. Make that make sense. Okay, bye. Can't convince me that men don't love more purely and more unconditional. Let me explain. Women can come into a relationship and have literally nothing. They can work a part-time job. They can be making minimum wage. They could have no money in their bank account. Some women can even be in debt and men will still accept them for exactly who they are because these men are looking for partnerships and wives. But also, men will accept women's psychotic breaks. Men will accept the irrational behavior. They will tolerate so much disrespect. It can be dragged. Men that truly love women will let their women put them through the ringer and they still won't leave. They love these women for exactly who they are, and even if she wants to change her career or go to nursing school, 9 times out of 10 he's gonna help her and fund that and support her. Whether she's dressed up or she's dressed down, There's nothing about her that he doesn't love because he fell in love with her for exactly who she is. But women, on the other hand, have a laundry list of expectations and standards that change based on the men that they're with. And then it changes even more once the men meet those requirements or those expectations, because they are expecting these men to fill the unhappy void that's basically unfillable because it's something that she has to do within herself. Women love with conditions. They don't love purely. And it's conditional based on what he can give her. And that's why you hear so many women leave after men lose their jobs. Women expect their men to always be changing and be in tune with their emotions. But guess what? 9 times out of 10, women don't even understand their own emotions and expect men to just kind of guess as they go. And it's just not the same for men. Men love more purely and more unconditionally, and you can't convince me otherwise. Okay, bye.
Tell me why I get so mad when an ugly man approaches me or tries to hit on me. Like, the audacity, like, stay in your lane. Stay in your lane.
Who's gonna tell her? Who's gonna tell her that these men that are hitting on her are absolutely her lane? The majority of women shoot outside of their league because they think that they're more attractive than they actually are. Like, let's be for real. All of us are average. There's a very slim percent of people that are just naturally attractive. This woman, for instance, take away her filter, even in this video, take away her lashes, her lips, all of the things that you can tell that she was insecure about, take it all away and then see how she feels about that inflated ego that she's putting out into the universe. I love how women are so comfortable getting on the internet saying medium ugly this and talking about a man's looks, but the reality is that the majority of women's looks can be removed with a makeup wipe. And then you follow it up with this personality that you think that you deserve, like a hot man, when you have a personality. Men are stepping away from all of this because they're picking their piece over these women with these inflated egos. And the funny thing about it is that these sense of inflated egos is all bullshit, because you get to know these women and they're the most insecure women. They think they're fat. They think they're ugly. They want a bunch of plastic surgery. So they talk about these men because it's basically just a projection about how they feel about themselves. And at the end of the day, the reason why their relationships don't work is because they're too hyper-focused on attractiveness and not about how people are actually treating them. Okay, bye.
Once again, these women continue, even though they're talking about the chopped man epidemic, to send out their worst soldiers, the worst ones they have available.
How the is it fair that women have the choice to leave their marriages, some of them even cheat, and now the ex-husband has to pay her way and essentially maintain 2 households because of her choice? How though is that fair? And how though is it in the best interest of the children for a dad to try to maintain 2 households, and he's so strapped for money because mom's household is the priority? Like, there's no freaking way that this is fair. Why the hell, after a divorce, is mom so prioritized and the dads are consistently on, even though their household is equally as important? Make that make sense. These fathers are never considered in the same capacity for their standard of living as the mothers. And women will always claim it's about the children, they need more, and they claim to need all this freaking money, but the reality is that these women are expecting these men to give them an income. It's called support for a reason. But not only that, is she actually has the audacity when she gets that child support number and it's $130 to actually say, what about my rent? Like, he is not responsible for your rent. If your ex is responsible for maintaining his own household, his own bills, his own utilities, then you are expected to give 50% of your portion as well. It's not rocket science. It's a hell of an incentive to leave your family and disrupt your family and have a broken home, knowing damn well that your ex-husband is responsible now for your standard of care. The fucked up part about it is that if these men decide to get a better paying job or get a promotion, these women actually have the audacity to take them back to court to modify their agreement. What's actually hilarious is how many women will get so bent out of shape when he asks to provide proof of where the money is going, because we all know damn well she doesn't need as much money as she claims. And the reality is that these men really only have 2 options. They can drown themselves in debt to fight a situation that's up against them to begin with, or they can forfeit and be considered a deadbeat. Okay, bye.
Why
are men not men anymore? I just, for the past 48 hours, I disassembled a bed, carried it to my car, all the parts, by the way, carried a vanity to my car, loaded it in the car, then drove to the storage unit to help my friend unpack everything, to get it on a gurney, to take the gurney up to the elevator, to take the elevator up to the 4th floor, just to get it to a storage unit, and then have to lift it up again and take it back into the storage unit, just to come back down to my car, just to go 5 minutes away, just to load back everything up in my car again. And you mean to tell me, out of the 5 million niggas that I called, and collectively out of me and my friend, that not one of them could come and help me carry a mattress?
Genuine question. Why is it that so many women think that they're entitled to a man's labor just because he's a man? It's the same way that y'all think that you're entitled to a relationship after you sleep with a man. Or the way that when you're in a marriage, you think that men are responsible for household labor and whatever psychology that you want to call it nowadays, even though you agreed by contract to be a stay-at-home mom. But I digress. These men do not owe you literally none. And where are your fathers to help in moving situations, or friends that actually give a shit about you rather than random dudes? But also, women have spent the last decade saying that they don't need a man and men aren't and you can do it all by yourself. Y'all got money. You guys are making your own money, so hire a moving company, which by the way is still men. Some of y'all treat men so, but then you still expect them to turn around and be there for you. And that's just not how the world works. And it's a woman's sense of entitlement that makes her think that just because she's friends with a man, that means he owes her his labor, which also isn't how it works. Because when was the last time these women helped men in any capacity? You get exactly what you give. Y'all chose the bear for months, and this is the consequences of your own actions. But additionally, you don't get to pick and choose when equality best suits you. Y'all wanted equality, so I guess now you gotta figure it out. Okay, bye.
So, can someone tell me why guys just aren't trying anymore? They can't even take us out for like a simple date. I keep seeing on the internet how everyone keeps getting treated, and I'm just like, we can't even get the bare minimum. And it's really sad that it's like a universal kind of experience. Like, it's so easy to please us. I would enjoy just someone visiting me at work and bringing me my favorite coffee.
Have we all suddenly forgotten when women collectively decided to choose the bear over men? Or how we've overcorrected SA allegations and basically men need consent just to look in your direction, or he's going to be facing false allegations or charges against him for SA? And let's not forget that y'all want men to be blowing up your phone, but not blowing up your phone too much to where he's a creep, but not too little to where it's not enough effort. And that's confusing as for any human being. Y'all want maximum effort with minimal reciprocation. Like basically the juice isn't worth the squeeze. And you want a guy with a sense of humor, but when he hits you with the dad joke on a dating app, now he's weird and that was so unoriginal and you know, he's giving you the ick. And the funny thing is you always want to talk about a man's lack of effort, but do women not do the exact same thing? They stop putting in effort and a man comes home to a woman in leggings and sweatpants, but when y'all started dating, you were dressing up, you were putting in that same effort, but y'all never want to talk about the amount of women that drop off in their own effort. And let's not even get into the amount of intimacy that drops off in relationships, because women start out themselves and they give out so much in relationships, and then guess what? That drops off as well. But y'all also don't want to have that kind of conversation about effort. And what's even more confusing is the way that women will say, like, don't introduce me to a vibe you can't maintain, even though the women's expectations is exactly that. It's a vibe that men cannot maintain, which is why the effort drops off and suddenly he's not doing enough. Women love to be love bombed, and then when it stops, they're confused as to why, because they have unrealistic expectations to be treated like a Disneyland fairy tale for the rest of their life, and it's not realistic. And it's because of social media. It's because of the people around them telling them that they deserve the most, and the most is not realistic. People still have jobs. People still have feelings. Men still have mental health issues. Y'all don't even want to take that into consideration because you're all about me, and the sense of entitlement that these men owe you, and they don't owe you anything. Women have set the standard and now they're unhappy with the standard. Okay, bye.
Stat math is seeing your children for 96 hours in a month and thinking that that's equal parenting time. Divorce dad math is crying to everyone you know that life is impossible when you have child support payments, but then you go and make a new baby with your 20-something-year-old girlfriend. Because, child support's like a buy two, get one free coupon at the store where you don't have to pay for that third round of child support. Divorce dad math is proclaiming that his child support should not be covering your rent or car payments, as if his child deserves to live in a cardboard box.
Divorced mom math is crying on the internet every single day about your deadbeat baby daddy because you refuse to give him more time or 50-50 custody. Divorced mom math is not wanting him back, but not wanting anyone else to have him to the point where you stalk the new girlfriend or the new wife. And divorced mom math is thinking that you actually had absolutely nothing to do with the downfall of the relationship or the marriage because you just sat there so innocently while he was a narcissistic. Divorced mom math is talking to your own kids about their father, about him being cheap, lazy, irresponsible, and making expectations of the fathers that you know were never planned to begin with to make you look like the better parent. Divorced mom math is crying about how you do everything and how your baby daddy does nothing, but you never say no to a child support check. Divorced mom math is accusing the new girlfriend of being dangerous, even though you've had multiple dudes around your kids and you call it situationships or just friends. Divorced mom math is training your kids not to be happy about their stepmom, their dad, going to dad's house, vacations with dads. You've taught your kids to suppress any emotions that are positive about the father of your child or children. Divorced mom math is always being resentful and hateful, even though you were the one that decided to leave in the first place. Divorced mom math is thinking that good parenting means that you know your kids' shoe sizes or the teachers that they have. Divorced mom math is saying that you're independent, meanwhile your mom is taking care of your kids while you go on dates. Divorced mom math is calling your baby daddy or the father of your children a Disneyland dad for wanting to spend quality time with them, but your idea of quality time is taking them to soccer practice. Divorced mom math is thinking that you need $5,000 a month to raise a child, even though before that you didn't, and you want him to pay for your lifestyle. Divorced mom math is crying on the internet about how your ex or your baby daddy doesn't help you on the day-to-day, but you chose to move over an hour away so he can't actually help you. So you're mad about a situation that you created rather than just living down the street from him so he can help you every other week. Divorced mom math is giving your kids a tablet as part of your quality time so you don't have to deal with them. So tell me, did I miss any? Okay, bye.
I do understand that there are some guys out there that don't handle their responsibility, but then there are some men that pay child support and then they have 50-50 custody. So why are you getting child support if the child is over my house half the time? I'm paying the bills when he's over here. I'm taking him to doctor's appointments. Anywhere that they need to go, I'm paying for it out of my pocket, and then I gotta pay you. This is what a lot of men are upset about. Why am I having to pay child support and the child is over here with me? At least 50, I say at least 50% of the time. Why do I have to pay child support to you if we're splitting the time with the child? What are you doing with that money? Oh, ain't not much money going on. Okay, then if it ain't much, give it back to me. Oh, that's what I thought. You not using it for what you're supposed to be using it for, and you making me pay more than what I should be paying, and I'm already doing my job. Y'all always want men to do above and beyond than what you doing. Y'all always want men. Well, I should be able to live in relative comfort. He is. Yeah, maybe because he works more hours than you. Well, I had to find a babysitter. How? The child is over his house. You don't need a babysitter. Well, I might have had to. One day I might have to, but you don't because he's over the dad's house 50% of the time. And every time or almost every time you've needed something, you wanted to go out or have a girls' night or something like that, you would just drop him off at either your mom's house or the dad's house. So you really never ever need a babysitter. If there's a mix-up or anything after school, child goes to the dad's house until you get off work, and then you take the child home. But yet and still, the dad is still paying child support. Why? Well, he's on my insurance and the insurance premium. Okay, I'll pay half of the insurance premium for the child, but I'm taking the child to doctor's appointments, and that's coming out of my pocket. Exactly. Y'all ain't doing what y'all are supposed to be doing.
I divorced my high school sweetheart after 5 years of marriage and 4 babies, and I recently started dating. And let me tell you something that I've noticed we do. Myself and several of my friends have gotten out of either marriages or long-term relationships that were either physically, emotionally, verbally toxic. Maybe the partner didn't hold their weight, whatever. I'm not just speaking to my experience. And I've noticed something that we start dating and we meet someone and they're doing the bare minimum and we think it's everything.
This is another narrative that's just getting old. Like, how the does it take you 5 years, but not only 5 years, okay, you're kind of dumb, you're naive, you don't know any better, but 4 children? So he was toxic and all of these things for 5 years, and you still decided to pop out 4 children with him. Like, make that make sense. Like, is it one of those situations where you think that a baby is going to make the relationship better? But then what gets me is you literally tell on yourselves, because then you say you have a bunch of friends that are going through the same thing or have been through the same thing. And what do you think that is? Y'all are in each other's ears talking about how miserable you all are. One person will say, oh, my husband's manipulative. So what does that do? You start to think, oh, maybe my husband is manipulative too. So you start seeing him as a liar, a cheater, doesn't tell the truth, is a horrible person, because all of your friends are also in your ear. But not only that, is your friends, once they become single, will then make you think that the grass is greener on the other side. So you all end up divorced, miserable, and unhappy, supposedly because of a toxic relationship. If it's so damn toxic, then why did you have 4 children? Why didn't you stop at 1 child? Because you knew long before you had baby 2, 3, and 4 that he was toxic. And then y'all get online and talk about the bare minimum this and the bare minimum that, and the dating scene sucks. But what have you actually done to heal yourself other than break up your family and talk on the internet? Like, really? And the funny thing about it is you're going to actually expect somebody else who's not the father of your children to take on 4 kids willingly. Like, what delusional world are y'all living in? And if he has kids of his own, guess what? You end up with like 6 kids. Like, it's just freaking wild to continuously come on the internet and talk about how somebody is when you chose to have 4 children with him. You have friends that are divorced and miserable, and y'all are doing the same shit expecting a different result. Okay, bye. The only thing men really need to learn is that you will never be able to make a woman happy. You just can't. If you last too long, then that's too much. But if you last too little, then that's too little. If you want too much intimacy, then you're being pushy. If you don't want intimacy at all, then you're cheating. You can remember to take out the trash, but she's going to remember that you didn't do the dishes. You can give her child support, and you can give her over that and pay all of the in-between, and it's never enough. But when you pay nothing, then you're a deadbeat and she's still not happy. You could plan the perfect date, but if you didn't spend enough, then it's still not good enough. But if you don't plan a date, then you're a loser that puts in no effort. Women who don't have boobs want boobs. Women who don't have ass want ass. Women who have too much ass want a smaller ass. If you text too much, then you're basically a simp. But if you text too little, then you're a loser who doesn't care. You could buy her exactly what she wants, but if it's the wrong color, then it's still not exactly what she wants. You could give her all of the affirmation and all of the emotional support, but she's always going to remember the one time that you didn't. If you work too much, then you're not spending enough time with her. But then if you cut your hours and you're home with her more often, but you're making less money, then you're broke and you're basically a loser. If you watch too much football or have a hobby with the guys, then you're not invested in her. But if you don't have any hobbies or any other interests other than her, then you're a simp. Until you understand this as a man, that it's not your job or your responsibility to continuously make her happy, and that you can't make her happy, your life will be a lot easier. Okay, bye. When are women going to learn that men are not trying to argue? Sometimes men are coming to you, trying to be heard, trying to be understood, trying to get you to listen and understand. Maybe that man is not looking for an argument. Maybe he is struggling with finding the words to say to you to make you understand how he feels. He's not looking to be attacked. He's not looking for it to be deflected back on him. He's not looking for an argument. He just wants you to understand how he feels so you can actually fix the problem instead of blaming him for why the problem exists. Maybe his anger is not actually anger. Maybe it's frustration from being misunderstood, from not being heard, from not being seen, to have everything that he says brushed under the rug until the next argument. Maybe that man is trying to express to you how he feels, but he can't find the words to say, or maybe he's saying too much, or maybe he's saying too little, or maybe he's not saying anything at all because he doesn't want you to think that it's going to turn into an argument. Maybe it's just a misunderstanding, and some of these women out here will literally end relationships over misunderstandings because they're too prideful to put their ego aside and actually listen to what your man has to say to you. How many men have finally shut down because of things that turn into arguments? How many men are misunderstood? How many men go unseen or unheard by their partners? How many men can relate to being so neglected by their needs that they don't do anything or say anything at all? That man never wanted to lose you. That man never wanted to argue with you. All he wanted was for you to take the time to understand and love him the way that he loves you. Okay, bye. My boyfriend broke up with me because I forgot to send him his daily allowance for his soft guy era of $5,000. I only sent him $2,000 and he told me that it was giving broke and he deserves so much more. Last week, I got him a new Lexus and he told me that kings don't drive Lexuses, that he was expecting a Mercedes-Benz S-Class and that it wasn't good enough because he knows his worth. And of course, I don't love him enough if I don't understand that. Last night, I tried to plan a date to Bonefish Grill, but he told me only Capital Grill, so he made me pay for an Uber to take him home because he absolutely refused to be there with me. He told me he only deserves the best because his mom always gave him the best, and he deserves Prince treatment all of the time. I planned a trip to Hawaii, but he expected first class and a trip to Hong Kong and Bora Bora, and because I didn't come through, he told me that I wasn't good enough and that if I really loved him, I'd spend more money on him. The other reason he said he broke up with me is because I only sent him $100 for his maintenance when really it was $500, and he told me that I'm so broke because I can't afford his basic maintenance and that he's a king and he needs to be well maintained if I want to date him. The other reason he broke up with me is because after working 16 hours a day, I didn't have food cooked and on the table for him like a couple nights ago. And he told me if I wanted to, I would. And that I just didn't give a shit about him because I didn't have it ready. Obviously, I didn't love him bad enough. And that's my bad. I should have known better. Okay, bye. Women are jealous of men. And women are jealous of the simplicity of a man. Women will openly acknowledge that when they met their significant other, he lived with an Xbox, a TV, and a sofa, and he was happy and content. But they fail to realize how much they upgraded the lives of their wives by the bigger car, the bigger house. And it's almost like these women have a sense of entitlement because if it were up to the men, they'd keep that same sofa, that same TV, and keep a simple life, which is why it's up. Oh, women can openly acknowledge that it came from nothing, but they very rarely appreciate everything that they have. These women will actually get frustrated at how simple their husbands are because they just don't understand it. Men can rotate the same 3 t-shirts for 3 months in a row and not give a shit. They can wear the same pair of jeans every other day and not give a shit. Have lifelong friendships without any drama because they don't give a shit. Women, on the other hand, are constantly comparing themselves to other women, and they oftentimes put their happiness in the hands of their husbands or their spouses, and when their husbands fall short, now he's a piece of shit. But the reality is that comparison is the thief of joy, and because these women are so unfulfilled and they're looking to their husbands to fulfill every single need, they can't understand why the men in their lives don't need more. And you just can't convince me that women aren't jealous of the fact that men are happy with the bare minimum, because women are constantly chasing this idea of happiness based on other people, and men just don't do that. Okay, bye.
Roe v. Wade has been overturned. Yeah, But, it wasn't banned or anything. It just means that the federal government gave the right to decide on the law back to the individual states. What am I supposed to do now? Well, birth control, condoms, and Plan B are all readily available at multiple different facilities and sometimes even for free. You don't understand. This is a war on women. Oh, I'm glad to see that you remember what a woman is. How can you be okay with the government just taking away our people's right to choose? Actually, by giving the power back to the states, it gives us, the people, more right to choose. But it's my body, so it's my choice. Oh, it's interesting you still feel that way after spending the last 2.5 years trying to force vaccines and masks down everyone in this country's throats. That's different. You could kill a person. Oh, so they're only a person when they can catch COVID. Got it. This is gonna get women killed. No, because there's not a single doctor in this country that would deny a woman a medically necessary abortion. And as I mentioned before, there are multiple options that are readily available for you to prevent an unwanted pregnancy before abortion even becomes an option. How inconsiderate of you. What if I'm raped? Are you expecting me to carry my rapist's child? No, absolutely not. That's why there are procedures in place. If you go to a hospital and report it, they'll scrape your uterus clean so there's no possible pregnancy. But I don't want to report it. That's okay. You don't have to tell the police anything if you don't want to, but you can at least be medically taken care of. Speaking of, men shouldn't even get a say in this. This is about my body. Oh, okay. In that case, he doesn't have to pay child support. What? Well, yeah, if you're gonna say that the father isn't involved or matters in the pregnancy, then he shouldn't have to pay child support because he's not involved. Well, but that's not fair. Yeah, that sucks. But it's also not fair for a father's input on the child's life to be completely disregarded just because the mother is the one carrying the child. They're both involved and they are both affected, so they should both get a say. You conservatives are such control freaks. You just don't understand. I wish my uterus had as many rights as a gun. Oh, you want to have as many rights as a gun, do ya? On a federal level alone, there are more rules and regulations about a firearm than there are about your uterus. So you want to be restricted from all federal buildings, movie theaters, school campuses, and banks. You want to be withheld from crossing certain state lines. Oh yeah, and you need to get a serial identification number stamped on that ASAP, and anytime you're pulled over by a police officer, then you are legally obligated to let him know that you possess one. Oh yeah, if you have a uterus during a crime, then your punishment is automatically boosted another 10 or 20 years. Private businesses are allowed to say no uterus is allowed. Oh, and don't forget you have to have a license to carry it. Oh, and if you want a shorter uterus, then you have to pay a $200 tax and wait about 6 months for the government to give you permission and file all the paperwork for that. You still want the same rights as a gun? Alrighty then.
We talk about how hard it is to leave the good guy. When you say, I want a divorce, and he's like, no, I want to work this out. Everything's going to be fine. You know, we can get through this. And he's so encouraged.
I will genuinely never understand this mindset. But of course, this is like a 2-minute video. So what else does she have to say?
Everything's just so peachy keen, right? We talk about how I'm manipulated into staying because he's a good guy. He does nothing wrong. Like, the only thing he's guilty of is being lazy and, you know, not putting in effort like we did when we were in the beginning of our relationship, like any other marriage. He doesn't beat me, he doesn't do anything, he doesn't...
Women fall in love with the process of falling in love, and sometimes not even the person. Let me explain. The majority of women fall in love with the romantic side of a relationship where he's courting you, he's taking you on dates, maybe he's getting you gifts, he's putting in all of this effort to get you, and you expect him to continue this effort when life smacks you in the face, and it's an unrealistic expectation. Women have been brainwashed into believing that it's supposed to be Disneyland movie all of the time, and he is supposed to spend 95% of his time making you happy alongside working 60 hours. Maybe you added some kids in there, maintaining a house, and all of the things that they don't show you in a Disneyland movie. And the other part about it is so many women sit on the internet all day long and see everybody's highlight reel of what relationships are supposed to be like, so they start to believe that the grass is supposed to be greener on the other side. It is not manipulation if a man wants to work out a relationship with you. You should be thankful because the majority of men that have an ungrateful partner at home would leave your ass and leave you with absolutely nothing and not want to try at all. And I can promise you the dating scene that you think is going to be better is not going to be. It's the same story every single time. These women put unrealistic expectations on the men. Well, they still don't put in the same effort. They're not having as much. Maybe they're not cleaning the house as much. They're not even doing the same things they did to get a man, to keep a man. And the biggest mistake that women make is that they don't go for compatibility, or if they even like this person, they're so focused on, oh, he bought me flowers, oh, he took me on a date, oh, he spent $500 on me. They are never looking at the person for who he is rather than what he's doing in the relationship. And then they themselves, because they wake up next to somebody after 10 years and they're like, who the f I marry, because we don't get along. I don't like anything about this person. The person that he really is isn't the person that I fell in love with, and it's because you fell in love with the idea of him and not for who he actually is. Okay, bye.
Married for 10 years. I got married young. I was 21, barely, like 3 days, 21. Already had a baby. He was 8 weeks old at our wedding. And I remember feeling like my marriage was temporary from the beginning. Like that I wasn't gonna make it. And I didn't know what that feeling was. I just thought it was.
So let me get this straight. She was married for 10 years, strung this man along for 10 years, had children with this man, and knew from the beginning that she didn't want to marry him. Marriage is forever, and it's not temporary, and age is not an excuse in my opinion. But there's more to the story, so continue.
Fighting for me, I was pushing him away. But I never truly accepted happiness. I left the good guy. He looks at and is like, that's a dad. That's a husband. That's how it's supposed to be. He did the dishes. He cleaned the house. He took the kids to school. He worked all day. He made good money. He supported us. I mean, yeah, we had our problems, but he was the good guy. So I'm here to tell you, it's okay to leave the good guy.
And she says something about finding happiness and not being happy, but she doesn't realize is that a man isn't the one that's going to make you happy. You have to make yourself happy. So she should have done a lot of self-work within the relationship, because you can be in a relationship while simultaneously working on yourself. And because she got married at 21, I'm sure she missed out on her phase, and now she's going to be 31 as a single mom out having fun because she missed out on it, as if that's going to be acceptable going into her 40s. And basically she goes on to say how a guy can be a good guy but not the right guy. But here's my thought process. Okay, first of all, you knew that from the beginning and you're not upfront, or did you communicate that? You wasted 10 years of this man's life where he could have gone out and found someone who appreciated him. But additionally, now it's 10 years later. If she was 21, she's 31 now. So now she's a single mom at 31. And she's about to go on the dating scene, and she thinks that's going to be better and that there's good guys still left out there. But this is also what I talk about on this page about these women. They ruin the good guys because now this man is going to go get his heart broken and never be the same ever again, all because she knew from the beginning and couldn't be upfront about it. Like, how sick and twisted do you have to be to make a man a placeholder and have children with him? And so many women in the comments right now are like, oh, this is exactly my situation. I've been married for 11 years and he's such a good guy. And, but he's not for me. Y'all need to stop listening to advice on the internet like that and go into therapy and fight for your marriages and fight for the good men that are out there, because I can promise you that the dating scene is not any better. But not only that, this man is about to get all his wrecked when she already knew from the beginning that he wasn't the one. In divorce, he's about to lose half, and who knows his visitation. You know how a lot of women can be with the visitation of their children, and as soon as they're pissed, they give the silent treatment. There's so many things that could happen in divorce that she didn't consider in the first place. Just despicable. Okay, bye.
It's the fact that she's sitting in her driveway, outside of her home, possibly that the man purchased for her and their child to stay in, talking about having to leave the dude that, by her admission, was a good guy, good father, good husband, did what he was supposed to do. But I just wasn't happy. So you know what? regardless of what we tell men, regardless of the things that we say, regardless of us wanting a man to be emotionally available, to be vulnerable to us, to communicate effectively to us, to never leave us, to stay loyal to us, to want to take us out on dates and buy us all of the little things, regardless of all of that, regardless of him doing that, I'm still going to say, I want something more. I want something, quote, better, unquote, out of life. And I'm going to get up here on this internet. And not only should I have done it in silence if I was going to do that, I'm going to get on the internet and say, this is what I did. And it should be okay to do that because I want to be happy. I wasn't happy. All of these deadbeat dads out here that we continue to talk about and how men leave their responsibility, I'm going to get up here and say, I'm going to do it too. But it should be okay because my feelings. And I'm happy to share with you that you can do it too. You should do it too, man. And women in the comments supporting it. Oh yeah, I couldn't stay. Some of these guys are good guys. But then they have the nerve to say, where are all the good men at? Where are they? Can't find them. Nowhere to be found. God, please send me a man. You mean the one that was paying all the bills? The one that was a good father? People knew him in the community as a man of upstanding integrity? Trustworthy, loyal man? You looking for that one? What a loser.